Good morning, friends. This is Sherry from Turquoise Dreaming. How's everyone doing? It's the weekend, and I hope everyone is planning a great weekend or not planning anything. That could be a great weekend. But welcome to my channel. I have a little story about these papers that I'd like to show you today. What the story is, and I think my title is going to be, if I'm brave enough, I'm going to put for paper freaks only, because you have to be a paper freak or a lover of paper to enjoy this video. Otherwise, people, if you just stumbled across this video and you didn't know about junk journaling and, how we love paper, different types of paper, vintage paper, old paper, you wouldn't understand this video. So the story behind this little pile of paper I'm about to show you is that my youngest son was at a job. Okay, so he was at a job and he had to go under the house into a crawl space. And he found this old wooden chest under there. Not like one of those pretty chests you put at the end of your bed, but just an old wooden, like very large toolbox, like the size of a chest. But it was a toolbox. I don't think it was an army chest, but it could have been, but it's not that color. And it's, he brought it home, and it's got a metal top and a wooden bottom, I believe. And I don't know if it's homemade or, it was sold retail. It's from probably, well, I don't know when. There's some papers in here dated early 40s. So it could be, from way before that. I don't know really the year. There's no way for me to know. There's no date on it. But what it was, he was at this job and he had to take it, he had to get things from out under, for the whole thing he was doing there. He had to get that from under the house. And so he told the owners, hey, you have this big chest under your house. What do you want to do with it? Do you want me to just move it out here or what? And they said, well, that was there when we bought the house and we don't want it. Do you, I guess they kind of asked him, does he want it? There was some tools and other metal pieces in there. And he said it was very, very, very heavy. Like there were some big metal pieces in there. So he said, yeah, he thought maybe we would want it, his parents, especially my husband, because of the tools and everything. And it was like a big giant toolbox. So he brought it home and my husband took it out to his shop or they put it in his shop, and he started going through it and he found this old dirty envelope. I mean, he brought me this envelope. It's like a brown envelope type envelope, big one that these papers fit into. And I had to throw it out. I was going to show it to you, but I already threw it outside in the trash because he brought me this envelope and he says, if you could just picture this envelope, really, really kind of dirty, but it's amazing because the envelope was dirty. I'm not sure what was on it. Like it wasn't dirt. It was just, I don't know what was on it, but it was dirty. And so these papers are really clean, so I don't understand why that envelope was so dirty, because it was inside of this tool chest. Maybe it was some kind of rust or something from the tools or the metal. But anyway, he brings me this dirty envelope and he says, I thought maybe you would want this. I was like, what the? And I had to put it on the floor. It was so dirty. I couldn't put it on my table or anything because I don't know what was going to come off of it and get onto my white table here. So anyway, after a little time on the floor, I took the papers out and looked through them. And I thought I would share them today because there's some really cool stuff in here. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, the coolest thing in here is right here on the top. I thought I'd show you that first. And it is this really cool kind of booklet or advertisement. And, kind of a pamphlet thing here. But this is, first of all, this little lady here with her appliances and her dining room table and her, kitchen or dining room. It says, she shall have outlets wherever she goes. So the gist or the theme I'm getting from these papers is this person that owned this chest was an electrician or in the electrical business, probably an electrician. And it's just regarding or advertising these plugs and called plug mold, with plug mold. Anyway, here's the really cool picture on the front. Here is the inside, and I was going to, like, here's what, let's see, like here's the plug mold right here. It's a little bar that goes, I guess, on your wall, and then it has plugs every so often. I've never seen that in a house, but probably maybe in, you know, at this point they've probably all been taken out of most houses, but maybe you've seen them in an old house, grandma or great grandma's house or something. So anyway, I thought it was really cool. There's just whole advertisement here. Let's see, here's the back. Here's some more pictures of the plugs, and I don't want to, you know, take all the time with this because I don't want this video to be too long, but I just thought this was really cool. And I don't see a copyright on here. I think I could copy some of these things that don't have copyrights if I wanted to, but this is really cool. And so we'll just move on to show, I can show you what else is in here. Now this is a big, I guess, a plan, like architectural type plan, like a blueprint from, and it's rather large, but I'd like to show you just to, I'm shifting the camera here, but just so you can get an idea of what this is. It is, if there's any way to do that on this little screen with this big thing, but let me just show you right here is the, besides the plan, it's a factory in here in North Carolina, and here's the information down here. So it's this Winona cotton mill in Lexington, North Carolina. I don't know if that's still there. Lexington is not too far from me. I've been to the Lexington Barbecue Festival, but I don't know that Lexington that well to know whether this factory is still around. A lot of textiles type factories have closed in North Carolina, but that's a really cool blueprint and from that factory, and it's really just neat to see that history. This is a cool little thing too, and this is probably the other coolest thing in this whole pack of papers. It's a small blueprint, and you know, it's got wiring here again with the electrical and the name General Electric. It says COMP, so compensator. Maybe that's the company. General Electric, of course, is a company. But anyway, General Electric Repair Company, it says down here on the bottom, too. It says Charlotte Electric Repair Company. General Electric on the top of that. Anyway, it's a really neat little drawing, and I did make some copies of this already. I'll show you those to you when I'm done showing you the different papers, but just to go through what was in here, some things I could copy or use as, you know, in my journals. So this is a large tag. As you can see, it takes up, you know, here's my hand, so I can see how big it is. About probably 10 or 11 inches long here. And it's just something that you'd put on a, it says circuit breaker, so maybe something they used to put on a circuit breaker box. But it's a large tag. You don't see large tags like that anymore. And then here's another little, well, it's like graph paper, and with some, like a receipt, or, well, this is called a quotation sheet. It does have this writing on here, which is really neat. And there's, you know, electrical parts on here, prices, things like that, amounts. And so there's several of these that were written on. There's some notes on the back also. And then this drawing, another drawing of electrical work being planned, and it's on this tiny, it's tiny squares on this graph paper. So I usually don't see that tiny of squares, and you can see how dirty it is. They might have even had this, or probably did have this out on the job, and then it ended up in the envelope after this job was done. So, and this opens up into a big sheet. So just really, really neat little, pieces of history here. And let me see if I've got this upside down. Should I turn it over? Yeah, I think I'll turn it over at this point. This is another booklet, and I'll just show you. You can see how dirty this is. Probably just from use, not even from being under the house. This is a yellowish color, and it's just an old booklet of parts, like a catalog. And then, what else do we have here? These are some unused quotation sheets. So on the back, they have written a lot of diagrams on. I noticed on these. I've already looked at them a couple times. So here is just diagrams written on the back of the quotation sheets. Old rusty paper clip here, and then this is like an invoice that is written on 1942 on the date there, just to give you an idea of what time this is from, time period. Here's a carbon copy of list of contents here. That's neat. I like to see that purple ink sometimes. That's pretty cool. You don't see that anymore. And then this is instructions for public address amplifiers. I wonder if that's some sort, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what that is. I'm not an electrician, and there's no electricians in my family, so I'm not aware, like when you have somebody in your family, you hear the terminology. But I'm wondering if that's some kind of speaker system that was in this plant. Here's some diagrams on the back. Very neat. More diagrams for the amplifier here. It says schematic diagram amplifier right here. More instructions. Okay. It looks like the same thing I just showed you, another one of those. And then this is a technical summary of speech crystal microphone. So maybe a microphone for the, speaker system. I mean, that would make sense if this was going into a factory, that they would have some kind of speaker system, because I noticed on that large blueprint, we were looking at it with my family, and there's 2 floors there. There was an elevator, and there was more than one building involved. So, it makes sense that they would have some kind of speaker system to talk to people out on the floor where the manufacturing was going on. And the machines, were doing their job, making whatever textiles were made in that factory, in that mill, textile mill. Another diagram on this little tiny print, a little bit different from the other one because it has the smaller squares inside the bigger squares. That one, other one is just all small squares, but you can see all kinds of writing and notes on here, probably from the job itself. Some more quotation sheets that were written on here, and this one's held together with a little straight pin. Right, let's see, right here. That's funny. Didn't have a stapler available, so they used what they had available, right? And that's 4 of those quotation sheets. These look like, they look like pencil. I think those are written in pencil. This one, instructions for installation, electrical type stuff. And then just a lot of typewritten, could be, they look like look like they're possibly the originals of this, not copies, because of the paper. And then here's some different diagrams in the back. So it's stapled together. We have some rusty staples there. And a little diagram written on this note paper from this company, Smith Courtney Company. Let me see if it says where this is. Richmond, well, it has 3 different offices: Greensboro, North Carolina, Hickory, North Carolina, and Richmond, Virginia. So really neat. Telephone. This is the telephone number. Well, telephones. It's very strange, these telephone numbers. I'll just show you so I don't have to. This one has, what, 5 numbers, and this one has 8 numbers, and this one has, what, 6 numbers. So, not sure how the numbers worked, phone numbers worked in early 1940s, but that's interesting. Here's some more wiring type and electrical type stuff, instructions and diagrams. More of that note paper with diagram written on the back. I like those. I think I would like to copy those. I don't think I've copied that one yet. I'm going to show you what I copied in a second. This is really neat. This is a timesheet, and it's yellow. Got all these grids here. Well, that would be really neat to copy. Blank on the back. This is envelope, an unused envelope from, here's like the postage right here, and here is the return address. It's sealed, so I can't open it, but I could make copies of it. Here's another little pamphlet about this automatic electric company in Chicago, about a microphone, or you see this one, there was one in here called a monophone. Oh, this is it right here. If I can show you right here, it says monophone, whatever that was. One phone, maybe you can only speak kind of like a speaker. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Maybe it was like a speaker. You speak in and nobody can talk back to you. You just, maybe this is what they made the announcement through. They spoke through for the speaker system, and that would make sense. Using the word monophone. No, I don't really know. I'm just guessing. Wire mold catalog. I like the look of this and the cover. Really neat. Here's the back. Here's a picture of a factory back here. Sales representatives in these different cities all over the United States, from Atlanta to Seattle. So very cool. Here's the insides, all these parts. Here is an invoice. Looks like an invoice type thing. Carbon. That could be a copy. It looks like a copy. Doesn't look like original ink. The way it's just looks like that type of writing. So I'll leave that in there since it was in there. But all these little parts here in this catalog, so really neat. Here's a blue one, kind of the same thing. That one, the yellow or gold one, didn't have a date on the front or anywhere in it. I looked earlier. This one has March 15, 1941. It's blue, and same type of thing. A little bit smaller, not as thick, but a little bit, smaller in size and thickness. And then it has all these parts. And there's the back. A little diagram. A quotation, another quotation sheet with drawing on it. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff other than copy some of it. If someone wanted some of it though to use, like as an add to their collection, that maybe was part of their history around here in North Carolina. This is motors for the Winona cotton mills, a list of items there, typewritten. This is kind of like, almost like onion skin, but not quite that thin. Kind of neat paper there. Did it have a staple? It has a little tiny staple. So I guess they had tiny staplers in the early 1940s also. You know, I don't know. I wasn't around then. My mom was a little girl then, like a tiny little girl, like 2 or 3. So quotation sheet. And this is really clean. Well, I said that and then I turned it over. It's dirty on the back, but really clean on this front page. Let's see, the second page is clean. See, there's the clean back, and then the bottom one is a little dirty on the back. That was funny. Okay, so here's an envelope that was used, the same type of envelope I showed you before, but this one does have an address on it going to Lexington to that Winona cotton mill. So, no title. Southern Electric Services Company in care of Winona Cotton Mills. Mr. Riddle, please excuse my pencil memo. I believe this gives you all information, but if not, please call me. So a neat little note there written on a quotation sheet. Isn't that neat? Okay, so that's all the papers, all the little treasures that were found in that toolbox under a crawl space in a house that was purchased by these people, that it was there when they bought the house. And here's the copies I've made so far. The timesheet, I shrunk it down a little bit. Just you know, playing around with these papers. That big tag, I shrunk that down, so that's what that looks like copied. I think I will coffee dye some of these and see how they come out after that. But here's one of the quotation sheets, shrunk, and it has the writing on it. And then here's like 2 different ones of those copied, what they look like. And then this is one that was not written on. You can see what that looks like. Here's some of the blueprints, the little tiny blueprints. This one got cut off over on the side here, but here's some that are full size, copied full size. So those came out really cute when I cut those out. I think those will be cool. I don't know about coffee dyeing these. I don't want to change this color in any way, but I would like the back to look older, but maybe not, because I think this looks really cool, the front. So I might coffee dye one and just see what it looks like, but because the back is so white. And then just some of the full-size quotation sheets. Here's another, this one I had already taken to work and copied this timesheet. And that's it. That's all I have to show you. That's my little discovery, or my son's discovery this week. So I just thought you might enjoy that, and I hope you did. Just if you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you did, if you could just hit that subscribe button for me, that would be awesome. My little channel here is growing, and I would love to see it just get to 1,000. That would be so cool. And that's just a little goal of mine that I have set for right now. And so I would really appreciate it, and I want to thank you for that. And I will have some more videos for you, and I try to make them interesting and fun. So I will see you next time, and happy crafting.